What's up, guys? Welcome. Another live stream, another Saturday. How are you guys doing? How's your weekend so far? How was your trading week? First of all, thank you for everyone that subscribed to the channel over the week. I appreciate it. If you are new, feel free to subscribe as well. Basically, I go live every Saturday, sometimes at 12 PM or sometimes at 6 PM. Usually it's 12. The last 2 weeks been at 6 PM. And the main point is to go over the market, cover FX, indices, gold and oil, and then just a little bit of crypto, mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, try to look for opportunities for the week ahead. Try to make some predictions of or key levels to pay attention to that may offer good opportunities and which direction actually I'm expecting to see price going to. So feel free to comment, feel free to share any zones that you are looking at. We can discuss, we can talk about them. Yeah, that's basically what we do here. And we always start with dollar index, which is one of the most important assets to look at because of all the correlation that offers, that it has with so many other different assets, not just FX, but also some other ones. All right, so welcome everyone. Interesting week, another really bearish, the momentum to the downside carry on the dollar, and we finally managed to break these walls, right? And this was something that we kind of covered a little bit in this last weeks or so, that all this correction in here on the dollar in this last few months, that it looked like just a correction before a continuation. Like it looks like that price was about just to do this. Right then, Cavi spera, man. Picanis. And that's basically what we had. And then big question now is going to be, where is the dollar going to stop? Where is this bearish momentum going to stop? Like we literally had every single day it was red and with a big momentum in the candles, except yesterday that we had a little bit of a correction, right? And that was a little bit of what we were looking at for yesterday's session, a little bit of a correction. And yeah, because we had literally 6 days in a row as a negative with bearish candles. It's not that often that we actually have so many bearish candles in a row on the dollar. Curious enough, we actually had basically 6 bull candles, but on the other side, when actually price was going to the upside from this level, like we had them in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting that price basically feel the same space, feel the same zone in the same style in here. Yeah, melting, right? Yeah, I know. I heard that it's like 40 or something degrees in Greece, man. Now that in UK is finally typical weather in UK. It's a bit like gray sky, a little bit of rain here and there, and the humidity is not so high anymore. Now it's time for South of Europe to be with proper summertime. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 39 today. It's crazy. Yeah, so what are you expecting? Like a little bit of a correction, of course. Key level, also where we are on the dollar index, is that we crossed the 100 mark level, right? Whatever if that actually is an important zone or not as a level of support or resistance, but we did cross the 100 mark. In the past, yeah, maybe it was a little bit respected around here and around there, that work as a resistance zone a little bit in the past as well, around these highs. So yes, it may be a level that a dollar may use a little bit either as a support or resistance, depending if you are above or below that level, right? So that's a little bit to look at. We just crossed below the 100 mark on the dollar index. The typical move that we may see is, of course, like if you're about to have this continuation to the downside, we may just retest these lows, right, and then maybe continue to downside. Looking a little bit more in the lower time frame, I think there's maybe actually a good level in there to look for a short. I think this zone in here looks like it was left behind something that I'm going to be looking at, a zone just above, no, not this one, a zone just above this this line here, something that I will be definitely paying attention to. And yeah, question mark is how price eventually is going to go there, right? It would be nice if maybe holds a little bit his size and then you have that fake out into there, right? Or even the other one, right? We have another low in there that price can still use. Kind of have a two combination of lows in there that price can use in there, right? One a little bit from this double low and then a little bit of this upper range in there. And both zones, they kind of look good on the lower time frame. Right, so again, question mark is how price can attract enough liquidity in order to actually sell from there, right? If price just does this, I think that's a little bit too obvious, right? I think price may create a little bit of a range first, kind of, and that is maybe moving down before actually making the move down. It's just a similar scenario like here, right? Maybe that's something to expect from the dollar if it actually is about to react from this level in order to continue to move to the downside. Looking a little bit to the left side, right? So we basically I think we actually went slightly below this low, right? I think something in here is still compressed, and I'm actually curious to see how price is going to react around this level, 99.083. That's a zone that I'm looking for. Of course, we have all this triple low in here. This actually slightly took the low, so this is something that price eventually is going to also take in there and fake out the level. So yes, yeah, it's going to be interesting because as you can see, the way price was moving to the upside, it was retracing and taking the zones behind. Maybe this one in here that I was looking for that long opportunity back when it was going higher in March last year, and then kind of we have this one left behind. And this is something that just as an exercise, like, it's interesting if you can do that, right? Now that, for example, as price is moving down, try to pay attention to the levels that are actually left behind, and you can just keep a small mark in there, kind of a small line, a rectangle, whatever it may be, and then you are aware of the levels then when price is coming back. And you see that usually they have some kind of reaction from there, right? Doesn't mean that's going to react from here and do this, but maybe some reaction from here in there. And now this is daily time frame of 4 hour. Intraday level, there's maybe some opportunities to take advantage of that. Yeah, most likely. Next week I was looking at the news. I think there is retail sales. There isn't that many news for next week on the dollar. Then it's going to be on the 26th. We have FOMC meeting again, right? We are going to have, and it started already yesterday, earnings season, right? Quite positive, the results in the banking sector. It's going to be again, but that's more maybe for the indices, or maybe the dollar can even have somehow some reaction to it. There's not big news events next week for the dollar aside from that retail sales and also the unemployment claims as usually on Thursdays. Yeah, I'm curious about this level. I think eventually price can feel this range. All right, yesterday it was an interesting day where the main dollar pairs, they didn't really move that much. On the other side, maybe dollar CAD ended up moving, but the minor pairs, they kind of moved quite well. Some of the yen pairs, some of the CAD pairs, if you look at Euro CAD, Pound CAD, they moved a lot. Yeah, some yen pairs as well, they moved quite nice. Aussie yen, Pound yen, Euro yen also. Like on the opposite side, if you look at Euro dollar or Pound dollar, basically they were just in that range. And they didn't really move, they didn't create any momentum, just similar to what happened here on dollar index in there, right? So again, this was yesterday's session, nothing much to look at. Nice reaction in here, but aside from that, price hasn't really created the momentum in there. So yes, I think we are going to maybe feel this range in here, get closer to these lows, and I'm curious to see how price is going to react there. If we start getting closer to this level in here, then eventually maybe price can react from there, but I think I'm going to be looking for price to take these lows and maybe start looking for something below that to have some kind of reaction. I may need to go a little bit more in detail in the lower time frame. Actually try to identify where, aside from here, where can maybe dollar have something left. This level in here, have this level. Yeah, I'm not sure, because there isn't really that much going on. in here. This one, it's amazing. This was one of the first predictions I properly did, and it was recorded when I started with YouTube back in 2021. How this move on the dollar index, it was really well predicted. The type of PI that priced it was really good. Yeah, so let's see. I don't know if you guys follow Fibonacci or not, if it's something that that you guys look at, but we are approaching also the 61.8%. Looking at this low and this high, we are actually getting closer to this 61.8, which is actually around the level that I was mentioning it. So I don't know. Really, usually don't really look at Fibonacci, but coincidence, it actually goes into the level that I was looking at. Again, for longs, even before any big turnaround, of course, we do need proper PI. I'm just even looking at that level just as a correction in here, or just some kind of retracement. For trend continuation, of course, retesting of this level I think can be quite interesting, and depending how price is going to react from there, then we can maybe have an opportunity to look for a continuation to the downside. And that's basically it for the dollar in here. Again, super bearish. And something that I have started to be doing recently, by recently I mean a few months ago, is exactly to start looking these big exhaustion or extensions from price. In this case, dollar, right? If you do have 5, 6, 7 consecutive negative days or positive days, there's a high probability that you're about to have, even if it is just a small retracement, we can start taking advantage of that on the higher time frame. But yeah, keep an alert in there. Yep, this looks like super. I don't, maybe if you're looking at RSIs or whatever, an indicator, that's kind of what it would show to you. I don't really need to use any RSIs to see that price is getting super extended and it's about to have, even if it's just a correction or some retracement towards this level, I think there's maybe opportunities. And then it's about to try to find which one, right? And just as an example, this is exactly what happened on dollar yen, as we'll see in a bit. On yen index, and the opportunities that we could have taken advantage by doing exactly that. So that's dollar. Moving on, we are going to go to S&P. Right? What do you guys think? Pedro, what do you think about the dollar? Which key levels are you looking at on the dollar to react from? Now we have S&P. It just continues, like the momentum to the upside, it continued. I respected that trend line that you kind of have somewhere in here. Never really managed to break the low either, and then it just continued, right? Just continued. And yesterday finally we had a little bit of a correction. Again, it's another one that's starting to have a lot of bullish candles in a row, and then eventually we're going to have a little bit of a correction. Yes, we kind of were stuck in between kind of this range. Eventually we moved to the upside. There was never confirmation or indication to look for a sell. This level in here around 4,454 can be maybe interesting. Around here, if price by any chance retraces to this level in order to look for a trend continuation to the upside, or even just use it for some kind of maybe breaking these lows as an engulf down, and then kind of use this level for maybe continuation like this. I think in here it's quite an interesting zone. The retest of this previous level as well, I think it's quite good. And we have this big compression, right? Now that we just broke below it, maybe we are going to be able to feel all this range. Attention still in here, but maybe eventually we are going to feel that that zone. We are not looking at the dollar index, but I think 1260 should bring a good retracement. Now like the current high in GIL. Yeah, we're going to take a look at those in a bit to see where we are. Yes, S&P, right? So we can start by looking a little bit on the left side. As you know, initially I had a little bit of this level, which kind of price slightly touch it and then move down and then just continue to the upside. Like it was with the news. It was this level, it touched that zone, it went down, kind of respect next level, and it just continued to the upside. So you never really had that confirmation. If you guys remember what I mentioned last week, and when you are looking for breakout setups or fake out, right? And there's going to be some kind of decision point that is in alignment with breaking. What am I doing? With breaking the structure, which then that zone itself needs to be broken, or kind of price needs to break that zone down again in order to kind of do this kind of a move. As long as price just holds it or not even touch it, the momentum to the upside and the breakout setup can occur. Like in this case, basically price just retested this previous level of support resistance, and that was it basically. As you can see, right, this is one of those as a breakout setup and not fake out in here. Again, let's look on the left where maybe price is actually reacting from. We do have a little bit of the structure. Maybe there's a little bit of a zone above there where price can go. At this point, I believe price just maybe took this high and it dropped after that. In here, maybe this level in here can be interesting. Actually, maybe price can. Not sure if that was already used or not. Maybe yes, maybe not. In there, just above this high and this high, that can be actually an interesting zone to look for. Maybe fake out this daily and maybe even weekly highs. Yeah, I'll just maybe fake out this weekly, and it's starting to approach this monthly zone in here, which can be a key level. Can definitely be a key level. Also, the retest of these left shoulders in here that we have, right? A little bit of these ones in here. Yeah, maybe that can be something in there. Of course, then you can go maybe a little bit higher. This level in here can be quite interesting as well in there. But maybe something in here. Now it's going to be earnings season, right? Q2. It started, and it's going to be for sure an important catalyst for the market and for the indices to see how price may react from there and from those levels. Yeah, or of course then something in there. Again, just following price going to be interesting. Just similar to what we usually try to look at before any big reversal. Price needs kind of to create a little bit of a few highs just to accumulate liquidity and then maybe take it. And like maybe this is the high that can start being used a little bit as a zone to be faked out. Again, the zone, it's a little bit above that. It's going to be interesting to see. First target for any sell, yeah, maybe aiming towards a little bit of this range, if not even there, before the continuation to the upside, which can be maybe Monday, can occur something like that. Or if not, we basically took these flows in here, but still reacting a little bit from this level. If price by any chance goes a little bit down, it starts moving a little bit like this. Eventually, somewhere during the week, we are going to have this kind of a move, and that's kind of what I'll be trying to look for. NASDAQ, just fake out something in here on the left. What did it fake out? Yeah, we do have this left shoulder in here as well on NASDAQ. Basically, just took that level in there. Again, there was a lot of momentum, right? When the CPI came out last Wednesday with the positive news, it looks like everyone was celebrating almost the victory over the inflation. Market was super bullish. Yeah, so let's take a look into here again. It's reacting something in there. I could see it going a little bit higher in there. So I don't know if I have enough candles to go all the way there. Oh, I still have them. Perfect. That's basically where price is in here now. So that's actually the zone where price ended up reacting from. Yeah, maybe a little bit above. And then this zone in here, it's quite interesting as well. So let's see what's going to happen in here. Meanwhile, coming in here, this is a nice zone, right? We exactly this kind of momentum up just to then break down. That's exactly something that we like to see. Similar, the reaction maybe coming back to this level in here can be something to look at in here as a potential continuation, or kind of we still have this trend line in here, and eventually even this level can be quite interesting as well. So yes, we have got quite a little bit of momentum for a few days, and now we may have a little bit of a correction with the aim again of maybe getting closer and closer to the all-time highs in there. So yeah, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities in here look for. This actually could have been a great opportunity. Yeah, this was actually a good opportunity to sell it. I was not really focused on this one. Yeah. All right, that's kind of a little bit of what we have. It's going to be interesting what kind of approach you're going to have, a little bit more to the highs, and if you do have this retracement towards that level. We have Dow as well. Yep, it respected the demand, so there was no engulf down. We may create new highs, and there you go. It may just continue to go even higher in here. Maybe even now starting to fake out that level, right? This is where being open-minded to the possibilities of seeing price respecting this low, not really breaking again. So there was opportunity to look for the sell. That's done, but then price decides to respect the low and starts moving higher, and that's it, right? So the continuation to downside, it was not there. Price starts turning. Now this level in here, it was key to look for a potential move to the downside from here. Yes or no? Price respected it, and now maybe price may go a little bit higher. Or whenever price decides to break this level, then we can maybe start looking for opportunities to look for the sell again, with the aim maybe of starting to target these highs in there, which may go a little bit higher towards yeah, a little bit, maybe even start getting towards that level on the Dow. Yeah, and then DAX is just respecting this high. That's kind of what he's doing at this point. Important zone in here for me, it's going to be this level in here, in order to see if actually price is about to maybe have a little bit of a deep retracement or not. This key level in here as well has been a zone of decision quite a few times, so interesting. But yes, this level, I think it can be interesting. So far it's respecting that double low, that double top, sorry. Yeah, so he's going to respect this level, yes or no. Maybe price can go higher and maybe fake out now this double top and getting a little bit closer to this level before a turn to the downside. Kind of yes or no in there, right? Otherwise, if you start breaking this level in here, maybe even retesting here, and you may have the continuation to the downside. In my opinion, overall, we did have an engulf to downside from here, so that's something that we are going to I'm looking for eventually for price to continue to move down, but it can go even until there. Okay, just fake out this level and go down again. Let's see what kind of possibilities are going to have in here on DAX. But the break of these lows in here is, for me, it's kind of an important situation, which is going to be looking for bearish signs in there. Yeah, that's basically for the indices. Euro index. Like what we have in here on the Euro index, like we have the correction, move to the upside, and we had price respecting the base of this compression. Like this was one of the targets after we broke this low. The target was the base of this compression where it started, and price decided to respect it. We didn't really have the engulf to the downside. Price never managed to break this low. If we had broken below that zone, maybe we can start aiming a little bit further down, or even retesting this level. Price decided to respect it, and now we are getting closer again to these highs in here, right? And it's going to be interesting. There's maybe a zone in there that can be used, maybe a little bit in here as well, or price can even go a little bit higher. As I mentioned, this high in here hasn't really touched the extreme of this level in there, so we can even fake out. We can even fake out this high in here and getting a little bit higher into that zone, maybe before moving down. So it's just something to keep an eye on in here on the euro, which eventually, when this turns, can be also a good clue for the euro dollar, right? For example, we had a really big momentum day yesterday on the euro index. However, the euro dollar didn't move at all. Like it just stayed, as I mentioned, it stayed within that range. We saw the big moves on the euro. It was on the euro yen, on the euro CAD, for example, euro Aussie also correcting a little bit more to the upside. Right? This is just to see how even just this move on the euro index is not just related to the euro dollar, but also to other euro pairs. And the same with the yen. The yen index has been quite interesting. One of the best ones, to be honest, in terms of how predictable and the type of opportunities that has been offering. Like again, we have been looking for that initial sell opportunity on the end pairs when price was in here, which would take yen index actually to the upside, and it took all the end pairs to the downside. One of the key clues, it was exactly that 145 on dollar yen that happened, and we had the sell-off. And now, just similar to what I mentioned on the dollar index, we're starting to have a lot of momentum. Like we had how many bullish candles? 1, 2, even though these two are quite small, but then we have a continuation. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again 6 bullish candles on this dollar daily bullish candles on the yen index. Like it's about to start having a little bit of a correction. Even on this move to downside, we may have had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, again 6 candles, and then we had a little bit of a correction, and now it was bullish candles, and then we had a little bit of a correction. Like it's not that often that you're going to have like 10 days in a row just in one direction. Even if it's just in one direction, of course, if you go intraday, there's moves in there, right? Price retraces a little bit, but then it still manages to close positive. And this is exactly what we were looking for. We're starting to look for the correction on the end pairs, right? Even though we had kind of been bullish in here, now it was about time to look for some kind of correction. If you guys remember, one of the first targets from this move in here, it was this high, even though this one already had broken the previous high. So we're actually starting to look a little bit higher, and then the next level, it will be somewhere in here. There's some zones in here where actually price kind of reacted a little bit, but the final destination even makes sense. This daily candle, we're actually starting to have the momentum to break below these lows, and it makes sense that that will be a good level to look a little bit for a correction in there. Looking into the lower time frame, this is exactly what we started to have. Again, we start having a little bit of this compression. And this was maybe some zones where price could react a little bit first, and it reacted a little bit. Like intraday, maybe you can find some opportunities in here, but meanwhile, price hasn't broken any low on the way up, so it will be just a retracement and then the continuation, something to keep an eye on until we finally had the typical price action that we usually see before a reversal. Like, and that's exactly this in here, which is we're starting to have the first momentum, and we finally had our first break of a low in here, right? This is important to notice, and this is exactly what you want to try to find out before the final turn. As you can see, basic price was being bullish in here. There's no break of a low until finally we get to this level. First break was actually a nice zone. Price got really close to a good level in there. It was already reacting from a good level. It was then got into the next one, right? If we actually look into it, it's basically in here. I think I may need to go even lower time frame just to actually see the level itself. Okay, like it cannot go there. Yeah, but it was the base of this in here. I think price was touching the base of this level in here. That's kind of where the spike reacted from, or a little bit below that in there. Right, and this can be used now as a left shoulder if you know exactly that. Like this high that created in here, it can now start being used as a not this one, sorry, as a left shoulder, and this is exactly what you look for. We have the first potential shift in here. Then okay, price created a new fake out, now reacting from the good level, and now we start having the turn. Like, and this is where now we need to find good opportunities to look for the reversal, and where is actually that going to happen. For example, again, the zone that I've talked about between breaking and where the decision point is started to be there. Maybe looking for this trend line that is broken. Like, everyone's going to have your own trigger to actually define if this is the top, and price kind of now is starting to move on the right side of the V shape, right? Which is one of the most important situations. Actually try to identify where the top is created. One trigger is exactly that. Start noticing the first break of a low and another fake out, and then price breaking again another zone. That's one of the best triggers. There are a few ways to trade this. You can maybe find some opportunities within this level, somewhere in here. After you start having another break in here, you could trade it. Maybe somewhere in here could be interesting. We did have now another fake out, where to, of course, you can always look for these left shoulders in there, and then you create a new one, right? Because now you have a new zone. Price starts to go down, fake out, and you create now this pattern in here, which would be exactly the timing for the entry, and with the bigger confirmation, right? It will be exactly in there. I think I already have in one or two videos, a couple of videos explaining exactly this kind of situation. Break off these lows and then retracing there, and you start looking for the bigger trend. For example, on this trade, if you are catching the initial reversal in here, your target may just be maybe this low as a conservative target, or even a little bit below that, and you can aim for a bigger target actually on this second entry in here, because now actually broke price. You start looking for something bigger for price to go to. When you trade in here, we still have the possibility of a retracement before actually price goes and continues, especially if you have this kind of behavior in here. Right, it's a beautiful zone to look for. Again, zone to look for, good breakoff in there, and somewhere in here could be a good trigger to look for. Right, so this yen index, it offered actually a good opportunity. Now, something that we will notice is that the importance of selecting the individual currency pairs that you're going to try to take advantage of these moves. Because if you are expecting this one to move down, most likely then you are looking for maybe euro yen, dollar yen, pound yen, and so on to go higher, right? Now, if you select dollar yen to actually look for a long, maybe that was not the best opportunity in there. Right, because dollar yen was still, especially if you're looking for the setup on Thursday and not Friday, because dollar index was still super negative. So dollar yen didn't really move to the upside because dollar yen was still attached a lot, of course, to the dollar. Therefore, it didn't really make the move to the upside. If you look at actually euro yen or pound yen or Aussie yen, for example, they already started to build up to move to the upside, even on Thursday, or maybe even before that. Like in the link to the upside, it was much bigger than what happened on the dollar yen. Just again, to give an example of how these correlations can help you to identify the good opportunities. Nevertheless, this is what we had in here. Good reaction now a little bit from this structure. So yes, let's see now what's going to happen. We are within this range, literally, because it's a daily level towards a daily level. So question mark, are you going to resume and kind of retest this level in here? This one is still fresh. Or by any chance, we are going to go higher. Like I'll prefer maybe for price to go higher first and create a proper engulf up, and then maybe before getting a little bit in here, and then maybe looking for that continuation. Let's see what's going to happen in here. All right. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you do use correlation or not when you're taking decisions on which pairs to try to take advantage of when you're looking for opportunities in the market. Euro. Okay, so Faden mentioned that on the euro, he thinks 1.1260, right? Where is 1.1260? We're getting closer to there. I do have a zone or a line closer to that level, which is on the euro. Interesting enough, right? I just actually noticed that this week when I was looking a little bit left, we have this gap that was created around the beginning, actually when the war in the Ukraine started back 1 year ago, back in February last year, around the 24th or 25th of February. Then I think the war started maybe on a Friday or Saturday, and then over the weekend we opened with this big gap, price retraced, but he never closed the gap, which may now be the solution, or not solution, kind of where price actually aims to go to fill the gap. There's this gap in here that was created 1 year ago, and it was never filled. So yes, it's going to be interesting. Euro is literally reacting from this high in there. I don't think it has even taken this high in there, but that's a zone in there to look for. You are mentioning 60, yeah, 1260 to be somewhere in here. Maybe in alignment with that one. Yeah, that could be a possibility. I do like this level a little bit above it. 12, basically 1.13, kind of. Maybe. There's maybe, again, just maybe a few zones in here. Yeah, fill the gap in there, over time frame. We have the base of this level, and then we have the cap in there. Where is 1260? It's in here. Yeah, this level maybe. Yeah, this can be interesting. If not the base of that, maybe in here. But yeah, but maybe price actually wants to fill the gap altogether. And then we have a little bit of zone above it. Basically price almost went there, and then kind of this level. Actually, I want to cover this one in there. To look for. If you actually start looking even bigger picture, maybe price even wants to go higher than this. Maybe can even go a little bit higher. Going higher and higher, which is going to be which is going to be interesting. Let me actually bring the Fibonacci as well, just to see where are we. Damn it. Go away. Never use this tool, man. Yeah, 61, right? We're approaching that level just like on the dollar index. We're approaching exactly the 61 mark in here. Again, it means whatever it means. It's not really something that is going to be a deal maker for me to start looking for shorts around that level. But interesting enough, it actually coincides a little bit with that zone, which is a counter kind of opposite thinker. Maybe that's actually a little bit of concern because that may attract people to try to sell at 61.8, and that one may not be the best zone then to look for trades. But yes, we go all the way through this level in here. Maybe there's a little bit of a correction to look for. Eventually you can even go higher than this level, which is already a break of the high in there, and maybe start looking a little bit higher. It's going to be interesting if you actually go all the way through test the base of this in here. Right, it's maybe a little bit of where we are going to, and eventually you can even fake out all of this and maybe go even higher in there, or even higher in here. Yeah, it's good. It's going to be quite interesting. Now, meanwhile, Euro kind of left a little bit of this zone below, so you can even imagine this happening. Yeah, just imagine that in that continuation to the upside. Or we're going to just retest again any sell opportunity, just the same way that any long opportunity on the dollar. The retest of this previous structure, I think, can happen. We had a really strong compression already on the way up. We slightly broke these highs, these lows, sorry, yesterday morning, and I think eventually we can aim to feel this compression in here. That's maybe one of the opportunities to look for this Monday, when the market opens, or by any chance if price continues to go higher. Whenever price turns, I think this can be a good target to aim for, to fill out this zone, getting closer to that level. I think the euro is going to provide that opportunity, and then let's see if it is just a continuation to the upside or start having a little bit more of a reversal in here. Yeah, I think eventually that can offer good opportunity, an interesting level in here. Actually want to change this this one in here, make it a little bit more extended to pay attention to, which is actually a nice zone which price can eventually go there. Yeah, this was a nice supply that price ignored completely. Was it during CPI? Maybe when price actually broke away from that level. Maybe it was. Yeah, euro. It's going to be interesting, right? I'm going to be looking for a little bit of reversals. Again, similar. We had a lot of bullish days in here, and maybe we are going to get a little bit of a correction. Like this one is like this kind of a dodgy candle. It looks like when you're playing roulette and you want to bet red or black, and you have like 5-6 blacks in a row. All of a sudden it's zero, right? Does it invalidate the probability of starting a new sequence of the blacks, or the probability is still to be a red in the next few rounds, right? That's kind of what it looks like, this dodgy. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks like a zero on the roulette. Oh well. Yeah, come on. Everyone has tried that approach on roulette to try to bet against the get many numbers in a row on black or red. Yeah, euro. So that's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we are at this point, and yes, looking a little bit more towards this zone somewhere in there. But yeah, key levels in here, maybe can take that high and then maybe turn a little bit. We have a little bit of structure as well somewhere in there, so that's something to keep an eye on. Looking left, we kind of have a little bit of this high. Interesting enough, look at this and look at that, and imagine that the target now it will be actually the retest of this level. Right, sometimes price does tend to behave a little bit with in a symmetrical way, and this could be actually the target. Exactly, started to the pip, basically with this level, momentum to the upside, and maybe the target can actually be this 1.14967, something like that, which is kind of just around those highs. And as I mentioned, that actually it's a natural, it could be a good target eventually for this move to the upside before maybe having a little bit of a correction in here. This was COVID back, yeah, this was COVID. I did remember that. Yeah, I got wrong in there just to close it somewhere in there. That was May. Yep, around May. I do remember that one. Yes, so that's kind of what we have, which can be a good target in there. Actually, let me again extend this one a little bit more to the left, just to even be aware of that zone in here. All right, so that's euro. Right, this is pound, which continues to go and do the same, right? Again, similar to the euro, it may still continue to go there. This looks a lot compressed. I think after kind of taking this high, I think we could feel this compression and getting closer to that zone, which may be some level still somewhere in there to look for. You did mention that you like where pound reacted from. Yeah, I like the high. It's a higher time frame, daily high. A little bit in there, but looking actually into the lower time frame in here, a lot of it looks compressed. What this zone looks like? This one in here. Looking at this one in here, it makes sense or not to react from there. Maybe there's something in here that price could use. Not sure. In the bigger picture, it looks like just a wick. Doesn't really look anything in particular. Because price made the move in here, right? And it maybe this one is touched or not. Maybe not. Kind of question mark if this level actually touched that zone or not. Otherwise, it could maybe be a good level to look for a sell in here. Maybe. So far, yeah, interesting. When we actually close with breaking this wall, right? My idea, maybe. And if we reach this level again, we do have all these highs in here. I think we may take them in there. Again, this level can be interesting. Right, similar to the euro, actually a little bit different to the euro, because actually pound tried to go down, then broke above. Somewhere in there could be maybe a zone to look for a continuation to the upside. Then you can even have a little bit more of that level in there. But eventually we may even target again the yeah, we may go to that 130 1.3 that price just broke through. Yeah, maybe something in here could be a good target for any sell opportunity, and then let's see if we have any continuation or not. Personally, I think I would prefer to see pound going a little bit more closer to that level before any move down. Nevertheless, we are also basically retesting this base in there, which can be interesting. In there, we do have these big ones in here. We do have this one, it was around COVID as well. Yeah, it could go a little bit higher. Yeah, I'll just keep following pound. Personally, I would like to see this level being taken before a proper move down. Do you like the highs, Faden, on pound? You mentioned that you do, but again, maybe another break out of this into this level. Oh yeah, it's going to be CPI in the UK. True, the BCPI. I think when we had the last CPI, it was big. That's kind of when we started this bullish momentum. It was the interest rate decision. Yeah, And just similar to the other ones, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, literally 6 candles, 6 bullish candles as well. Maybe retest CPI spike first. Ah, okay. Something like this. Yeah, it could happen. Could happen indeed. This was such a... Well, let's not talk about it. Yeah, this was the CPI move that we had. This compression all morning and then the spike to the upside. Like if you, again, if you want to look for an example of compression, this is exactly what does it mean. This compression. This is compression. There you go. That's compression. All right, moving on. Pound, euro pound is kind of in the range, kind of retested now. This is about top in here, and maybe the tendency is to go higher. Yeah, I'm not going to go much into it. We have Aussie, which retested retested the highs. Went out the way, created this about bottom, retested out, went out the way. I kept waiting for price to go a little bit below that before moving upwards. Never occurred. Are you going to respect this and just go down? Yeah, I'm not sure. It managed to hold it. Yes, that maybe a little bit in here. I'm not the biggest fan of where actually price is reacting here. I would prefer to see price going a little bit higher to be honest. Nevertheless, this was a full compression in here, and that's kind of a good target where Aussie kind of just filled the zone. Like as soon as you kind of started to break one of those lows, in particular this one, then you may feel this compression all the way until here. And now let's see how price is going to react from this structure in here. Same way price has been compressing a lot on the way down, which same way that can eventually make a move to the upside. Yes, we do have a double top, so that's kind of what we have at this point. I think eventually price could go even higher. That zone can be interesting, or of course the zone just above this high that never really touched this level. Yeah, that's a zone that I've been looking or waiting for quite a while at this point, and it's kind of what I'll be looking for in there. Yeah, that's Aussie dollar. Euro Aussie. Well, let's not talk about this one either. There you go. It reached target. Again, the retest towards those highs. Good approach. Price moved down, start breaking lows, and then kind of just continue to move downside. And it reached the target. I retested these lows, which was a good target. Again, compression down, and now move to the upside. Let's see again how price is going to react from here. I'm still maybe looking for maybe price take a little bit these highs, and let's see what kind of reaction we are going to have from here. But initial target from the move from here to here, that's done. Now that they kind of respected this above all, maybe price can even go a little bit higher. Maybe some reaction from here, but then maybe going higher in here. That would mean that the Aussie dollar actually would continue to move to the downside. Like so, again, let's see how price can react from this level. And yes, the momentum to the upside just to follow Euro Index. Yen pairs and the dollar yen. Like again, super bearish momentum. How many candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically the same as dollar index. 6 bearish candles, just the same as yen index. 6 bullish candles, and we went all the way to take these lows. Right, we basically took everything in there, and we finally had a little bit of a correction. Like we had some kind of correction, especially last Friday, yesterday. And this is finally when dollar moved a little bit to the upside. Like if you try to go long on the dollar yen in any of these situations, you were not that successful in this case. Like opposite, if you actually went long on Aussie yen, maybe euro yen, or even pound yen, for example, just to give a few other examples, because we actually had the move to the upside on the other pairs. Nevertheless, maybe this is beginning of a potential turn in here. The dollar is going to be and the dollar needs to help also for that to happen, to have finally some kind of correction in here. Overall, where the low is reacting may be interesting. It may actually be an interesting zone. It's just on the weekly time frame is we actually took the low, and price is kind of reacting. We actually took this low as well, so it's kind of where we are at this point. Is it my favorite low? Not on my zone. not really sure about it. Yeah, it can look okay in there, or then you may even go a bit lower. We'll see. But we may have now a little bit of a correction in here on dollar yen. And we actually managed to break this high again, starting to break highs on the way down. That's something that you want to look for the turn, and then price starting to create also this a little bit of this range, these lows, and then you had the move down and the move to the upside. Of course, these turns, they usually tend to occur at 2, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. It is what it is. Yep, there you go. Dollar, yen. Maybe if price retests to this level, I will be looking for a potential long in here. That's for sure. Zones to look for, maybe right in here, other test of that level as well can be interesting. Or having actually a proper retracement from here. So let's see how price is going to build up from this level. If you're going to even use this one again as a fake out, and then maybe going a little bit higher, something to look at. 138.12. $138. Huh? What are you looking at? 138. Ah, in here. Okay, 12 it will be this level in here. Maybe you're looking at something on the lower time frame. 12 hasn't 12 been touched yet. 138.14, and then I have maybe 108 maybe. Unless you're looking at something on the tick chart that I cannot see in here on 1 minute. Maybe you have something that I don't have. Maybe this level in here can be interesting. It was this level in here used in the past as well, so that could work. That could definitely work in here, kind of creating a zone 2 type of a move. Right, that's kind of what you may have at this point in here before. Yeah, price can even take the size again, take this low, and continuation to the upside. That's a little bit of the move that we could have in here. Now use this level as a long. Maybe price can even have a little bit of a deep retest into there, and then a continuation, which are going to try to look for the entries, maybe even align with this left shoulder or whatever lows price creates in there before the fake out. That will be kind of zone 1, unless you can actually catch the low in there. And then kind of when price breaks this level can be another type of entry, especially the confirmation after breaking that zone. And then we may have a momentum being created in here on dollar yen. So that's kind of a little bit of a move that you're going to be looking for, zone 2 type of a move. Yeah, somehow around there, the high. No, yeah, it got broken. Yep. Yeah, it did got broken with momentum. It kind of created this pause in here, which looks like a really important decision point around this level. Which can, and then it was left behind, so price kind of just paused in here and never really retested this level. Definitely, it's a zone to look for. And then the next ones, it will be something in here. Maybe price could also still react from. Basically, price kind of created this double low without really deep retesting the zone in there. Second, looking a little bit more to the left, just to pay attention to any left shoulder that you may have in here, and this is one of them. It's too much, just a little bit less. Yeah, so something in there could work out as well. And yeah, so we have what left shoulders kind of we have to use in here. You kind of have this one, and then you may have that bigger one somewhere in there, or maybe it's already reacted from here. We have this level, it's quite important, and maybe something in here as well. It's kind of a little bit of what we have. This one in here did never really manage to break that. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of the zones that we can look at in here. Price is respecting this level. For sure that before maybe the next big turn, price will take these lows. That's something that I will definitely wait for price to take these lows. Now you can just take slightly and retest that level that you are mentioning and in here, which is quite good. Or price is going to maybe have a little bit of a deep retracement and then maybe go higher. Of course, it matters also where the highs are going to react from. For example, this level can be interesting. It looks like this high never reacted from the move in there where you had the CPI. So that could be interesting. And then that level in there as well can be quite interesting. Also, usually price likes to kind of create a little bit of a double top bottom and then have the momentum, right? So whenever price creates that kind of double bottom, can be a good trigger to wait for the fake out and then for the move. But yeah, it's definitely a setup to look for, and then you can try to look for either the dollar or the yen index, which needs to kind of confirm as well that momentum to the downside and the dollar yen in here to the upside. But yeah, one to look at exactly there. Yeah, so let's see what's going to happen now. Looking at and moving on to this euro yen, right? And this is where I was mentioning the difference between the dollar yen and the euro yen, right? And you can see literally the difference. Moving out, just if I bring in here the different yen pairs that I have. So this one was only on the 14, and basically price moved. Okay, it's actually kind of a good move in here. What, 200 pips? Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, just in one day. This one actually started on the 12th. Like the move to the upside actually started on the 12th, and then yesterday it had this continuation. Pound yen, the same thing. Started kind of a little bit on the 12th, then actually retested in here during the overnight on 13, and it had this move. Right? Aussie yen, it started also with during the CPI data, really strong momentum to the upside, and it just moved in there as well, right? So again, this is where it matters to try to find out which ones to look for. Good reaction on the euro yen. Again, similar type of setup, accumulation of lows, all of a sudden fake out in here, break, retest that level, and go higher. Next zone, it initially reacted a little bit from actually this level in here, then decided to break above it. Again, this is kind of the move that we are going to be looking for on the euro yen, on the dollar yen, sorry. Right? Is this kind of a move after price kind of slightly break the zone? We'll have a little bit of a retracement and then the continuation to the upside. That's a little bit of what we are going to be looking at. And in this particular case, dollar yen, euro yen, sorry, price filled this target that you're looking for, retesting below this low, and then price was free to start looking for the reversal. And this is where again it helps, right? We had all this bearish momentum, and then all of a sudden we take this low, we reacted actually from this daily zone. Super simple, and then now we have a little bit of a correction, if not even price aiming to go back to the highs in there. Can even have retest again, and then maybe continuation to the upside. Price actually could do something like that and continue to go higher in there. So we'll see, but good move in here. Basically, the move to downside to something that we're expecting, and then eventually the correction after price reached the target, also something that you're looking for. Pound yen, just similar story. It filled the spice in here, right? It was exactly what you're looking for, and same exactly reaction. If you actually check, it's in the same day, around the 16th of June, around 4:30 or something like that. On euro yen and pound yen exactly reacted from the same zone in there. And there you go, correction, start having highs in here, use this left shoulder and goes higher. Good reaction from there. Again, at this point it's already reacting this previous level of support resistance, so it was a good reaction from there. Let's see if we have a little bit of a move to the downside, or we start aiming a little bit closer to these highs. Now it's in the middle, right? The best opportunities were when price was kind of somewhere in there, and then it broke below this level, and then for the continuation, and then for the reversal. Now it's in the middle. It's more of maybe intraday setups. Try to find out which direction actually price wants to go next. The opportunities, they vary depending on actually where we are. And the Aussie as well. Aussie yen, it reached the target. Again, same compression that you're looking to fill. It reacted from that level. CPI, again, starting to go a little bit higher, in which we have these lows in here to be faked out. And during the CPI, it actually made that that move to the upside, and then the continuation thereafter. Like again, we're testing a little bit of this level. That's kind of where we have the reaction from. Again, now it's in the middle. Like the short opportunities, it happened somewhere in there, the longs in there, and now in the middle you will see. Maybe retest this level and can go higher, maybe retest this zone can still go short, or his price kind of wants to go a little bit higher and eventually even take these highs and getting closer to there. Yeah, on the Aussie end. We'll see. CAD, really big reaction. Finally, a little bit of a correction as well. Yeah, where it's reacting on the left, not sure if it was my favorite zone or not, but it was a good reaction as well. Like it's actually on the 1 time frame, it actually may make sense in there. We kind of started this compression from here, and this is where actually the separation occurred before we started this compression without these lows and so on and so forth. So it actually makes sense in there where actually the low reacted from. Again, compression, you start having that typical kind of a move, and interesting, right? You broke and then you respected this level and you had a big momentum to the upside. Looking at pound CAD and euro CAD, also big momentum to the upside in there. Yeah, question mark, where are you going? Are you going to retest that level? Are you going to maybe to have another retracement even before continuation to the upside? It's a question mark in here on the CAD where we are. For example, pound CAD is literally just approaching this important high. Right, we are literally touching and reacting from this level. It can offer maybe a great opportunity. Last Friday is starting to react already a little bit from there. You can even retest this level before maybe continue to go higher, or you can actually have a proper turn from here. For that to happen, most likely the pound also needs to start turning to the downside. If pound wants to continue to go a little bit higher, we may go even above this high and maybe start aiming to go towards somewhere in there. Like, but maybe if you do want to look for maybe this kind of opportunity, you can. Euro CAD also at this point just a little bit in the middle of this level. You can even aim a little bit more towards that zone in there. Right, something that you're looking for. Finally, we created this big momentum yesterday, and yeah, let's see if price doesn't really continue this retracement and eventually start aiming a little bit more closer to there before a move down. But meanwhile, price can go up and down maybe for aiming that zone in there. But yes, interesting tower CAD. Really strong momentum yesterday in here. Dollar franc Swiss, what can we say about this one, right? So I mentioned that I was looking for a potential long from there, right, which never occurred. I've been waiting for that level quite a long time, even when price was still in there. A potential long from there, which never really happened. There was no confirmation. And just to see a little bit the importance of actually waiting for confirmation is that if this level is still strong, as you will see, because even if it was broken to the downside, it was actually respected almost perfectly as a continuation in here, right? So it's exactly, it's the same zone, but instead of working as a sell, as a buy, it actually worked as a long in this case. As you can see, there was no confirmation for price to turn. There was no break of highs, nothing whatsoever. It actually, the opposite happened. As we were approaching that level, we created momentum and it just broke below all that structure. Like, even managed to break below these walls. So the same zone that initially I was looking for as a potential long, it then eventually worked actually as a potential sell. And meanwhile, price was just dropping and dropping and dropping. And well, where we are right now, it's actually reacting from a little bit of this level. And actually there's a demand in here on the lower time frame. I need to go to 1 hour. And here it's actually kind of a little bit of a zone. Now, it's going to be tricky. I'm not going to be really paying too much attention on the dollar franc Swiss at this point. The zones on the left, they are not the easiest ones to identify. So we'll see. Again, it's going to be maybe a lot based on whatever dollar is going to do in order to help for this dollar franc Swiss to start turning a little bit more to the upside. Otherwise, just continues. Now, something that we notice is exactly when price reacted from that level, we actually mentioned that this one could be the target. I kind of mentioned if this was a 5 or 15 minutes time frame chart, this would be an engulf to downside. I did mention that quite a few months ago in one of the analysis. Price broke that low in here, and the reaction from the origin of the move, that would be kind of then the continuation. We look for price eventually to break that zone. Now intraday, yes, there could be some corrections, and that's kind of what I was looking still in there. But we'll see now. Retest of this level, continuation to downside. We'll see whatever is going to happen on the franc Swiss. Gold, it filled the range, right? So gold, hey, where is gold? Oh no, this color card, sorry. Gold filled this range in here, right? It finally moved in there. We had kind of this this zone in here that we're looking for when price starting to break, then eventually filled in there. Yeah, this is actually a zone that I was potentially thinking about looking for a sell, maybe correction in here before actually price continued to the upside. After price broke this level and opens price to go higher, I was considering a potential deep retrace before a continuation. But again, price never broke even this demand zone, so there was no trigger whatsoever to even aim for the sell. And this was the CPI, and then price just exploded to the upside in there. And as you can see, what initially could have been working as a sell actually then worked as a continuation in here. Now price is fighting this level. It's been in here the last 2 days or so, and that's kind of where we are. Again, I'm still looking a little bit maybe towards that level if price by any chance breaks this highs. So we'll see what's going to happen in here, if we're going to have the continuation in here or eventually a little bit more of a move to the upside, and eventually can even go all the way to test these highs in there. For now, yeah, why not? Continuation in here, then kind of a move a little bit downside, maybe use this level and as a continuation in there. Oil, super a good reaction yesterday. It has been super bullish as well, and this was actually kind of a good daily zone in there, right? Just above this daily high, reacting into that level. And you kind of have now a correction here, which you may go retest maybe this 72 or somewhere in there as a continuation in here. It's kind of interesting enough. Yeah, we could have something like that happening, and maybe from here we could have a continuation to the upside in here. All right, just to finish, let's take a look into crypto, right? And we had another spike above the highs, still respecting this level. BTC is still respecting within that level from May last year. So even though we kind of broke again the highs, the most recent highs, we didn't really manage to break that level. It's another spike, it's another move down straight afterwards. In here. So again, the analysis kind of still remains the same. Last week kind of did a little bit more of a deep analysis on the crypto, which yes, price can still go a little bit higher. Again, as a daily candle, it looked a little bit bullish, but not yet a kind of a proper momentum. But it's going to be interesting to see something that happened that I mentioned that I was looking for before even any attempt for Bitcoin to make this kind of a move to downside. It was actually looking at the crypto total market for this level to be, for price to react from this level before any attempt for Bitcoin to actually make a move to downside. And it happened. It happened when Bitcoin made that move last Thursday. It happened. Price reacted from that zone right now. You have already the initial reaction now. So this level in here now is quite interesting. If price just continues to respect it and continues to move to the upside, or by any chance if price actually breaks below this and now kind of goes higher in here, respect this level, and maybe this can be an opportunity to look for the move to the downside. We did have or start having already a few lows being broken on the way up. Again, that's one indication that price may want to go down after reacting from the extreme in there. So that's just something to keep an eye on. But yes, my perfect PA in this case, it will be exactly for price to create now a little bit of a range in here, eventually break these lows, and then kind of retest again, and now react maybe from this level in here, or this level in particular in there, go above, more important, go above this level, whatever highs we created in here, and then continue, make the move in here, right? That could be a little bit of the best PI that I would like to see. Like, I would actually like to see this level being left behind. So I want to see this was being broken first before actually this level being respected. The price does indeed goes directly into there and then kind of break these walls and then start moving to the upside. It may even want to create new highs. I would like to see some kind of highs that could be used and eventually to fake out, where this level is still fresh. I'll kind of create a little bit of structure in here for that to happen. Otherwise, you may actually start doing the opposite. And eventually, this level actually holds, and price just moves and does the opposite and goes higher. So there you go. This level, what we talked about last week, and when you start looking at this one, now it has been reacted from, and maybe Bitcoin now is ready to move in here. We'll see. Like Bitcoin at the extreme in there at the highs, still may have some levels to look for. So we'll see. Ethereum as well. So it spiked above this. Spiked above this high. Didn't really react. It's still from this level a little bit that I was kind of looking for. It's reacting from this this left shoulder in there as well. A little bit more down. Damn it. Okay, just stay there. Stay there. Good. That's basically a little bit of where it's reacting from. Ethereum hasn't really managed to break these lows just yet. So yes, maybe there can be still another attempt higher before maybe moving down. Opposite a little bit on Ethereum, as you can see, is that we haven't really managed to break lows. We kind of broke a little bit this level, but this was the zone itself, and price then respected this level in here, not mistaken. So yes, again, this level can be interesting. All of them created kind of a little bit of this structure to see how it's going in there. And then we have Solana as well, a zone that we actually talked about. Like, it was a little bit expected that we could fake out all these highs. So we managed to break above that, and they are reacting from this level. And this is where it's kind of going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen next from here, right? How price is going to actually react from here. Is it going to break to the upside or to the downside in here? Again, at this point, this structure is one of the key zones to look for in order to see if price breaks below that level again, maybe, or if just retest and then continues, then we may have something like this and price may go higher. Yeah, and from there, maybe can even have eventually the deeper test, maybe getting closer to this level before having that big move to occur. Again, key zones in here to look for. Just because price broke these highs, I didn't change anything in here. At least for me, I want this level to be broken. That's going to be the key zone to look for. This is the high that I want to see being taken in here to turn more bullish in here. So that's a little bit of what I'm looking for. And yes, this level in here can still be used in the future for a potential really good swing position in here. And that's it, guys. Yeah, Ethereum, crypto. It's going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen from there. What levels are going to be respected or broken in here. Let's see what's going to happen. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Faden, again for taking time to be here. Yeah, dollar, a little bit of a correction, then move down, or full correction. Euro, we'll see. The indices, are we going to have continuation of momentum or not? Or are we going to have a reversal? Now that we are in the Q2 earnings season. Again, a lot of volatility as we have seen in the market. It's about picking the right stocks or currencies or assets, whatever, to look for the best opportunities. I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I wish all of you a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye bye. See you next week. Obrigado.